Personalization is a tricky subject, and one of the most effective and simple ways is to do location-based personalization. Yeah, do you want to tell me a bit about how you would start doing location-based personalization?
Yeah, of course. So there are, in my book, there are two types of that personalization, which is one is displaying your stores, and the other one is more around highlighting content and products. So we dive into the first one, and it's, I think, one of the main benefits of retailers is having stores, because the big pure players, they don't have it.
Right. So why don't you use your competitive advantages where you've got them, and if you've got a store in someone's neighborhood, and say one of the big e-commerce players doesn't, then that's a huge advantage. Okay, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I think that is really, really important to do. And there are a couple of places that you would do that. So the most generic one is having one in your header and have access to where are the stores. But of course, you can also, a lot of people will search that via Google. So, and it really gets interesting when you have your store stock as well, because then on your product detail page, you can also highlight your stores. And that means that the difference is, hey, you have immediate access to your product instead of having it delivered the next day or a couple of days after. So that is why I think it's so important.
Okay, so in that situation, you might suggest to a customer, if you want it today, you can just go to the store, which is 10 minutes away from you, and pick it up, as well as, I guess, there's no delivery charge in that as well.
No delivery charge, access right away. And often overlooked as well is that if you go to the store, you will have all these neat services in store. So if you look at sports stores, you will have measurements for how you're running. If you look at the fashion stores, they often have like the tailored service where you can have measurements in place. Or when you have the outdoor stores or the baby stores where you can walk on a track with your stroller, or where you can test your boots on a rock. Right. So they have a lot of benefits, which is really
there's
nice.
A lot of, there's a lot of products that, although people will buy them online with sight unseen, they would prefer to be able to see them physically if they can.
Yeah. Indeed, especially when you're going to the more expensive or more complex products, then going to the store is almost mandatory for buying it.
Right. And what about so you said that was the first type of personalization based on having local stores. You also said there was a location-based personalization based on your product catalog.
So what is important here? So you have influences from the weather, what you can use. So the most known example is when it's raining and you're selling umbrellas, you can promote them. When the sun is shining, you can promote your sunscreen. Those kind of tactics. And it can even be the differences in countries. So if you're having like these, you're a big retailer and you're active in multiple countries. So again, if you have sports, maybe the sports in Australia are different than the sports we would do in Europe. So you can promote different products on different locations. And then I think you have, so you have the weather conditions, but besides that, you can have cultural differences. So you can have certain parties in certain regions.
Right. Or just very simple stuff like if people are near the beach, then you can show them swimwear. If they're near the mountains, you can show them hiking equipment, if they're near, for example. So.
Yeah, and there's always also a risk at place, because you don't know if someone is planning to go to the beach who is on holiday. So you should always do it with thought, so to say.
Right. It's okay. That makes a lot of sense, and it's what's interesting because when the normal struggle with personalization is organization says we want to do personalization, but then it looks like a cliff. How do I go up this cliff? How do I achieve it? And I think those are really nice examples of first steps you can do in personalization that are effective and relatively easy to do based on a limited amount of data. So yeah, great.
Yeah, and I think when you start with personalization, what's really important is that you will set some goals on what you want to achieve. So it could be, hey, I want to increase my average order value, and then you also can tap into the user journeys and then see, hey, what can I do with personalization to maximize my average order value?
Okay, right. So don't say, let's do personalization, but rather say, let's improve X, Y, or Z, and let's see what personalization can do in order to achieve that.
Yeah, that would make more sense, and you can pick more specified topics to add, because otherwise it's personalization and what you're gonna do. Right? It's
yeah, it becomes like, oh, we need to tick off this technical box because I've heard it's important. Okay, great.